So, as long as you are able to turn your attention from what is being experienced as bodily sensations, as thoughts, as perceptions, as experiences, as long as you can turn your attention, and it's not about denying anything or negating anything, it's just a shift of attention. There's, like, for example, right here is these glasses, on the table. But turning your attention from the perceived to the perceiver, to perceiving. That's an important, process. And it's relatively simple because you know that you're aware of hearing these words. So there is the words, or you're aware of perceiving this perception. There is the quotes unquote what is being perceived, and awareness of perceiving. So it's just turning your attention to awareness rather to what is being perceived. And of course, contemplating that awareness is you. You are this awareness. You're the one who's aware. It's a relatively simple process to grasp. So given that it is you that is aware, and that is everything that you experience out of awareness and as awareness, then you can sort of shift your attention from the perceived form to the fact of awareness. And then you can contemplate that the images on the screen are constantly changing. An hour ago you were not here. The perception, the scene, and the thoughts change, and bodily sensation shifting. But awareness doesn't. The you, the real you, the I, the body changes, bodily sensations, body size, whatever, but not the awareness. So you're turning your attention to the changeless in the changing field. So there is a changelessness, and the changeless is the reality of the changing, because it is through awareness that you perceive. Through awareness that you perceive your bodily sensation, or your thought, or tree. So it's through awareness, through that gate, it's through the formless that the form is perceived. And the form keeps changing, but the formless awareness isn't. So the reality of the formless, is formlessness. The reality of the world, body, mind is you as awareness. Right? So the difficulties, the hardship, is when you as awareness identify with the form, rather than remaining as the openness of awareness that doesn't identify with any form. The mirror doesn't identify with any image that it reflects. The ocean doesn't identify with any wave, or any fish, or any ship that arises in it. So you're not basically trying to figure out a process by which you can free yourself from the angst of the world, because the angst of the world are your dream. You're simply contemplating the reality of your experience. Because if you try to find a method to save yourself from the misery in the world, it's like you're dreaming that there is a lion chasing you, and now your concern is about finding a hunter hopefully in time, that will slay the lion and save you. But there is no lion chasing you. It's a dream character being chased by the lion. Because the reality of what you are is not this you in your dream running away from the lion. The reality of you is the dreamer. Right? Not the dream character. Right? So it's not about finding a remedy for you, meaning the person, the body mind. Because you're not the body mind, you're the dreamer of the body mind, you are consciousness. What hears these words right now is not you, the body mind. It's via the body mind as an instrument that you, consciousness, is hearing these words. Like the metaphor I often use about you, the bird watcher, use the binoculars to watch the bird. The binoculars are not perceiving the birds. You, consciousness, you the bird watcher in this metaphor, is using the binoculars to perceive the birds. So that you're not the body, you're not the instrument. You as consciousness are hearing these words via the instrument. But the bird watcher, when the binoculars are lost, for example, or broken, nothing happens to the bird watcher. It's very important to understand. Nothing happens for consciousness, because consciousness is not a phenomenal event or phenomenal form or something in time and space. It's not made out of atoms and molecules. It's not made out of anything, because nothing contains consciousness. It's consciousness that contains everything in a way. It's not something contains consciousness. Oh, this table is conscious, this bird is conscious. The bird is sentient, the table is not sentient, but that doesn't mean it's conscious. Sentient refers to certain phenomenal qualities. There are certain way in which the molecules move, are put together. There are certain signals that get fired through the brain that move the arm and so on. But what fuels the entire non-sentient as well as sentient realm is consciousness. In other words, the galaxies, the way the galaxy and gravity function, is not due to the atoms and the molecules. It's due to whatever empowers them to do this dance, which is consciousness. A good metaphor is like when you dream of a pink flying elephant. What's making this pink flying elephant fly is you. You are creating this experience, which is an image and a sensation. Or sometimes you dream that you're flying. I don't know if you ever dreamt that. You're actually not flying, but the experience of you flying and landing, that's not built into an actual you that's flying. There isn't an actual you that's flying and landing, but the experience is fueled and created by you, consciousness, you, the dreamer. In this case, it's a metaphor. But as long as you consider yourself to be a person, you still believe that there is, something that needs to come to the rescue of this person. Because the impression of the person is a limited impression. It's a contraction. But when you realize that, oh, consciousness is dreaming all persons, it's dreaming all minds, dreaming this perception, creating this perception, is consciousness that's creating it out of itself and perceiving it. It simultaneously creates it and perceives it. It's actually your experience. It's not about adopting a belief system, a new belief system. Your experience right now is that you, via consciousness as consciousness, is perceiving this perception. What creates it? There might be a thought that says, oh, it's created by, I don't know, a factory, it's a perception factory out in somewhere. But that very thought is arising right here to you. From where? You say, oh, well, it's arising. It's also being downloaded from that factory. Well, that's a belief. Because it's not your experience that there is some place where these thoughts are being downloaded to you. It's not your experience. Your experience is that these thoughts are just arising spontaneously in this present moment out of your presence. I mean, where else? It's not like you're plugged in. There is a plug in here, and there's somebody who's that's pure fiction. That's just. But that's a belief. That, for example, some people believe that. I actually knew somebody who believed that they're wired. That were like some invisible tentacles that are tying them into. Wait a minute.
Dianetics,
Huh?
Dianetics is like that, I think.
Oh, is it?
Like Martians rule.
I'm not familiar with it. But this person believed that there are some invisible fibers that are tying them to some bigger thing that's and so it's a nice image. I mean, it could be even a nice LSD experience, But what's your experience right now? It's very simple. Your experience is that you as consciousness are hearing these words. Present, whatever the word is, doesn't matter, use the word consciousness, that you are hearing these words. And it's very, very clear that you that hears these words is not something that's perceived. You perceive, but the perceiver is not perceived, and yet it's very real. So the reality of your experience is what you always need to go to if you're truly interested in the revelation of the truth.